Good morning, everyone. It's Tracy Frith here. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sherwood Park, Alberta, and I wanted to share with you today another one of our celebration items. So I talked a little bit about that last week. So this is, I wasn't sure at first because it's kind of cutesy, and I only have like one little guy in my life, so cutesy sometimes isn't always the one I'll go for, but this guy's really cute. Or well, there's three of them. They're the Adorable Owls. So this stamp set, so this is one of the items that you can get free with a minimum $60 purchase from Stampin' Up! And he's super cute. Well, there's three little guys and a couple of little sayings. So I'm going to share today. I'm actually going to do 3 cards. So I've done a little bit of prep work and pre work with stamping and coloring a little bit just to keep it so it's not too long. And I'm going to do the same card layout but kind of 3 different ways just to give you some ideas of some of the different things you can do. Now before we do too much of that, I just wanted to share this. So I have not got really involved in Paper Pumpkin, but Paper Pumpkin is a subscription kit that Stampin' Up! Has available. You can get a 1-month subscription, so you get it 1 month at a time. I think you can get a 3-month, a 6 months, a full year. So there's lots of different options. It's a kit similar to some of the other kits that I've shared with you, but this one is a subscription kit. So the sign up is a little bit different. So it comes with everything you need, same as our other kit. So you have your stamps, your inks, all of your paper products, all of your embellishments, everything comes in your box that you get once a month. And so this one is a Valentine's one, and the kit has everything in it that you need to make 9 cards. There's 3 different designs, so you get 3 of each, 9 coordinating envelopes, a stamp set, and it's a love theme one for February, a fresh freesia ink spot. So this is also a good way to collect different colors of ink if you don't want to invest in a lot. And it comes with everything contained. So you can finish the kit, you're done, you're left with the stamp set and the ink spot, and whatever. There's always usually a few little embellishments left over. So you start to build up a little bit of a supply of stamping stuff without having a lot, right? And then this one also has an add-on. So just if you're interested in something like that, give me a shout, let me know, and we can certainly get you set up. And the add-on, so every once in a while the kits will have an add-on available. This one has a heart box. So you get the cards in the kit. If you want to do the add-on, then you also have a little heart-shaped box that coordinates. And for that you get the 10 heart-shaped boxes with 10 key-shaped stickers. And it tells you what it coordinates with, stuff like that. So I can certainly get you set up with that if that's something that you're interested in doing either month to month or like on a monthly basis for a few months or just once to try it out. All right. So I'm going to put that away and let's get to the fun stuff. All right. So the first card that I'm going to do, I am going to use the little birthday owl. Okay, so I've already put him on block. I've actually already stamped him, again, just to try and make it a little bit quicker. So I'm using, my card base is going to be Gorgeous Grape. And I've scored it, so standard 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to fold it in half here. Oh yeah, I forgot, I am going to do a little bit more stamping here. So yeah, I had them all planned out, and I've pre-done kind of some different bits on each card, so I just have to remember what I still have to do for each of them. Okay, so I have that. I have another piece of cardstock the same color, so Gorgeous Grape, and this is, I went 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, so it's going to end up being like matte size. I have a piece of designer paper, so I'm using the same package that I used last week. I think it's called Dandy Designs. Let me just double check. Yeah, Dandy Designs. So this is one of the $120 products in the Celebration catalog. So the stamp set, if you have a $60 order, you can earn the stamp set. For this one, you need a $120 order, and it's got a lot of paper in it. So it's like about 3 times the size of a normal paper pack. And this is the same size. So 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. I've got those 2 pieces. I have a white square that is 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. I have a scrap of white. Why do I have the scrap of white? I think I was going to do the stamping on this, but I've already done the stamping, so that's okay. And then I have a piece of Coastal Cabana. So this is just 1/4 inch wide by 5 1/4. So your length on all of these pieces is the same, 5 1/4 for those 3. And then I have another piece of Coastal Cabana for stamping my greeting. Okay, so this card, what I wanted to do was to show a card that really all that you needed was a few supplies. You didn't need a whole bunch of fancy things to use. So what I've done, the square I just cut out. So I used my Stampin' Trimmer, but you could certainly cut it out by hand if you wanted to do that, if you don't have a trimmer. Same with these trimmers. The trimmer, I would definitely suggest a trimmer because it makes it easier. And then I have stamped the little owl, and I did cut him out last night because it's fussy cutting. Because I'm doing 3 cards, I didn't want to have to fussy cut 3 owls on camera because it is not my favorite thing to do. All right, and I am using our Stampin' Write markers for this. So again, if you don't want to invest in all of the inks, you can get the markers, and they are available in the color family. So I have the color family of the neutrals. So I pulled out these ones for that. And then this one is a Coastal Cabana and Calypso Coral. So those are also available in their color families. I got them a long time ago. These 2 colors both came out as in colors. And so I got the little set of the 5 or 6 in color markers with those, but they are still available. You just have to buy the color family. So the color family has 10 colors in it within the family. All right. So I'm going to just finish coloring him. So what I did his little face in Crumb Cake with the marker, and I'm going to do his belly the same. So I get my Crumb Cake marker, and they're kind of the same. I've used the blends a lot. So they have the brush tip on one end with the thick line, and then the little skinny line on the other end is like a journaling tip more. You can use it to more like a pen, like an actual pen. So I'm going to use the brush tip. Losing my brain power already today. I'm just going to color his tummy in. And these definitely give a little bit of a different effect than the blends. I think the blends are still my favorite to use. And it will dry a little bit lighter than that. And then I'm going to take I'm going to do his little beak in the Calypso Coral. I tried to remember to go kind of light to dark when I'm coloring. Just in case I make a mistake, then sometimes I can cover it up. All right, and then I will use Soft Suede for his ears and the top part of his head. They were clearing our street this morning, the snow removal crews there, so if there's some loud bangs, I don't know if you'll hear it on camera. I've heard a few this morning. There's some kind of loud bangs and groans and stuff from the machines outside. I'm hoping maybe they're almost done and onto another street because it was kind of loud. So what I find with the markers versus the blends, I didn't do a very good job there, is that all your every time you lift your pen and put it down, you can kind of see that mark, whereas the blends, you can blend it in a little bit better. All right, and then the Coastal Cabana. I'm going to do the other stripe on his hat. And I did color his eyes in with basic gray. I thought maybe if I did it again, I would use a lighter gray, like a smoky slate. But I think he looks okay still. Just doesn't give quite as much of the detail that hopefully you'll see later on with the other samples. All right, so that's done. So he's all colored and fussy cut. I can put the markers away-ish. And then the last thing I'm going to do is stamp the greeting. So I'm going to try and stamp it on here. And I'm just using Tuxedo Black Memento for this. And I am using for this one the It's Your Day stamp. So this is all out of the owl kit. I do have one more bit of stamping to do, and I don't think I actually got that ink pad out, so I'm going to have to run and grab it. So I'm using one different stamp set just for this card. I'll show you that one in a minute. Let's get this cut out and done, and then I can do the other one. Okay, so for this one, so this scrap is about 1/2 inch wide. And if I can get this on straight, which is always a bit of a challenge. Nope. Okay, let's try it again. So it could be that I have it mounted a little bit crooked on my block. Quite possible. Let's try it on the other end. If that doesn't work, I'll turn it over. I'm leaving a bit of space, you can see on the end, because I am going to trim this down and make it a bit of a, not a flag, I can't remember what you call it, like an angle cut, I guess. That one's much better. Okay, put that out of the way. And then, yeah, I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to angle cut the ends a little bit. There we go. All right, so again, scissors is all you need for that. All right, let me just quickly run and grab my gorgeous grape ink. I had it out last night and then I put it away. I forgot I needed it again. All right, I'm just going to put these pieces aside. Pull out my bit of scrap paper here. All right, so this was another new stamp from the catalog, from the new mini catalog. It's called the Hand Drawn Dot, so it's a background stamp. And we actually got this one. It was one of our gifts when we went to the on stage. Oh, hello, Mom. I'm glad you finally found me. I put the sticker on the back of it last night and it was kind of all weird, so I don't worry too much if I get my stickers on a little bit crooked or not quite right. I don't stress too much about it now because I sometimes will do like a test stamp and just figure out how I need to maneuver it so that it stamps straight, but this one doesn't matter. All right, now what I do need is my large block. Okay. So this is it's called the letter F block. All of the blocks have letters. So, oh goodness. So you can use this, sorry, I'm banging my camera, I'm getting my stamp stuck to the packaging. I'm doing well today. Okay. So you can use the large block, or if you have the Stampratus, you can just mount it on that as well. I need to get myself a Stampratus. That's one thing I don't have yet. All right, so I'm just going to ink this up. Now, you'll see this is a really big stamp for my little piece of paper here, wherever that went, underneath. So I'll show you what I like to do for this is I will ink up my stamp. And for this one, I like to kind of lay the block down and then press down with my ink on top of it, as opposed to the other way around, just because it's a big stamp. And I can kind of see If I've got, some of them don't have ink covered on all of them. That happens sometimes. So I'm not going to be too fussy about it because this is just going to be a background. But you can go over it. And that's where the Stamparatus is nice, because if you stamp once and you don't like the coverage that your ink gave, you can just re-ink and stamp again in the exact same spot. And it works really nicely. Now, what I'm going to do, so when I'm using a big background stamp like this, because it's just, again, it's a background stamp, so it doesn't really matter where it's going to end up on my paper, on my cardstock. I just like to put it down, the cardstock on top of the ink. And then because I learned the hard way, put a piece of scrap paper on top. And then you just kind of carefully just press down into your cardstock. You just want to be careful that you're not going to be moving the cardstock around, because then you'll get not a great image, right? Okay. And that's why I put the scrap paper on top instead of just using my hand. And then you just carefully take it off. And there you go. So let me put that out of the way, because now it's got ink all over it. I don't want to clean it yet. All right. So I've just added a little bit of visual texture, I guess, to that. Visual interest. And you can see there's a few spots where it's not 100% stamped. It doesn't matter for this. So I can put that ink away. All right, let's get this card together. Okay, and I did not do insides today. So normally, because it's a dark cardstock, I would do an inside page with white. And I made this card for a birthday card the other day. So what I did is I put the white on the inside, and then I just stamped a little owl in one of the coordinating colors. So this one I probably would have used the Coastal Cabana to stamp the little owl, okay, on the inside. But I'm not going to do that today. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to start by mounting. I don't need that piece. These two pieces. Oh, and I forgot to check my glue. Okay, let's see if it lasts today. All right, so I'm going to put the matching piece on first. So the Gorgeous Grape piece that I just stamped. So for this one, I'm going to line it up where I want it along the edge. So just that little bit of a border along the edge on top and bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to put this piece on. I'll leave that one. I tried to go a little bit outside my comfort zone here with these colors. I was looking for color combinations for something different, and I came across this one. And I was like, oh, that one's kind of different. I'm not 100% sure I'm sold on it. But it's a nice, bright, kind of different color card, so we went with it. So this is going to overlap on that piece. So I want to try and get about, whoops, as I bonk the camera with my head, the same border. And just try and make sure you kind of match up your tops and your bottoms of your... Now this piece, why is this a short? Okay, that's no good. My designer paper is too short. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let me grab my scraps. I'm going to make sure I have my purple piece the right size, or what size it is, so I can make the green one the same. Oh, I went a little long. That's weird. Oh, I know what I did, I bet. I was supposed to... Shoot, I had a piece of the grape cut, but not completely cut. So I trimmed, I cut it to the right width, but I forgot to trim the length off. All right, let's measure that one more time. So I would stick with the 5 1/4, but this one's going to be just a little bit bigger than that, so that it lines up with my other piece, which also means I'm going to have to cut the Cabana one again. I'll do that in a second. So it doesn't matter if your piece is a little longer than 5 1/4 or a little shorter than 5 1/4, just make sure that they're all the same length. All right. That is better. Not quite perfect, but it will work. Okay, let's do this, because I'm pretty sure this one's going to be too short as well. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to cut 1/4 of an inch for this one. And then I'm going to trim it slightly bigger than a 5 1/4. Okay. Hopefully that's the only card that happened with. Okay, and then this piece is just going to go down the center. So it kind of covers up your seam, but again, adds that little bit of, like, kind of like adding a ribbon. All right, now we were talking about colors before. So if you're like me and you're not always sure what color kind of goes with another color or what might work, I've discovered that Pinterest, if you type in the name of the color, so if I type in Granny Apple Green, sorry, this one is Granny Apple Green. I don't know if I mentioned that before. If I type in Granny Apple Green, Pinterest will pop out some different color combinations that go with Granny Apple Green. So it's kind of nice that way. All right, I am going to take my little owl friend now, and I'm going to, so you could put them up with dimensionals. I'm just going to use my glue. And I'm going to put them on flat because I'm going to pop the whole piece up on dimensionals. So the one I did on the weekend, I put both the owl and my background shape up, but because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this card, if I'm mailing it, I don't want it to be too thick. So I'll just put one set of dimensionals on. All right, and I'm going to put him kind of off to one side a little bit. And down near the bottom of the square. Let me grab my dimensionals. And I think I'll use my big ones. And I like to cut, if I use the big ones, I like to cut them in half. I don't know why. I just started doing it a long time ago and I feel like I'm wasting them if I don't. But don't feel that you have to follow my craziness. And I'll put another one in the middle. So I don't think I mentioned, when I stamped my little owl, I stamped him with the Memento ink. And then I colored him in with the markers. All right, so this is just gonna go, I'm gonna offset it a little bit. So it's gonna go over, and see, I've already covered up the part that I didn't get inked up very well, so that's gonna go there. And then for this, I'll save that one, I'll use the small dimensionals. I'm only gonna put dimensionals on, because this is gonna go over here. So I'm only gonna put dimensionals on this side, under the its. And then I'll put just a little bit of regular glue on the other side. And then I can pop that up there. And then of course, oh, when they're under all my other extra inks, move those out of the way. Of course, you need to have some bling. So I'm going to get out my regular rhinestones here. And my take your pick tool. Where is it? Right there. And we'll add a couple of those on. I've got a couple packages that I'm working on here, so I'm going to take a big one from that one. Put it there. One more big one. Maybe up here. And then we'll get a little one. There. All right. So that is card number 1. Okay. Cute little owl card. All right, now let me grab the next one is going to be this one. So I pulled in some other stuff here. So this one, I'm going to watercolor. So when I watercolor, I need my inks. Now let me go over the pieces. So the pieces are all the same size. The real size, not the one I had to redo. So 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. 2.5 by 5 1/4 for both of these, and a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 for this. My colors are basic gray. This is again a piece of the Dandy Designs designer paper in Coastal Cabana. And this one is Parakeet Party from our In Color collection. And then I've done a white circle that I pre-cut using the Stylish Shapes dies, and I think it was the second largest circle for that one. Okay, so those are all my pieces. This was just about a 1/2 inch piece of, maybe it might be a little bit bigger, the Parakeet Party, and I stamped the It's Your Day. And also using the Stylish Shapes dies, I just flagged or did the flag cutout for that one. So that is all done. And then again, I stamped my little owl. Now, this time I used it's called Fluid 100 watercolor paper. So I am doing watercoloring. Watercoloring, you can do it on regular white cardstock, but it's not as good. It doesn't hold the ink as well. It can break down your paper. The other one that works if you have it is the shimmery white cardstock. So shimmery white will also work. Work. Sorry, yes, Mom. This piece is a 1/4 inch. This piece, I believe, started out as at least 1/2 inch. Just the greeting, just because it was a little bit bigger, easier to cut. All right, so I'm gonna just fold this one. I could have done my folding ahead of time, I guess. And before I start with my watercoloring, I'm going to just run so this time instead of stamping this piece, I'm going to emboss it. So I'm using there's 2 that came in this package. It's called the Wintry 3D embossing folders. So this is just the one that had the kind of the pine branches on it. And what I discovered the other day was your folder has a little line across the bottom where it says the Stampin' Up. You can line up your cardstock on that little line. Now, again, this folder, it doesn't really matter. But if you have one that you want it to be straight, then that works. Now, last week, I started to do a video. I actually took it down because it was just too many things went wrong. But in it, I had my new mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I had tried to use it and it didn't work. I couldn't get it to take the sandwiches in. So I contacted demo support because I thought I was going to have to send it back. But what they told me was to try and stagger the plates when I put them in. So I tried it and it worked really well for my die cutting. And then when I was playing again last night with embossing, I still couldn't get it to take it in. So what I did on my own was I played with the sandwiches. So I think I showed you it came with all these different plates. And what you're supposed to use for the 3D embossing folders is plate number 1 and plate number 4. Okay, so these two. But it wasn't working. So I played around a little bit, and what I found with mine, and every machine can sometimes be a little bit different, so you just have to kind of play around. So what I did is I used plate number 4 and plate number 3, and that seemed to work well. So let's see if it works today. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to take it aside. So when you just want to kind of make it into like steps, all of the 3 parts of your sandwich. It's not working. Today it doesn't want to go. Try a bigger step. I'll try one more time. If that doesn't work, I'll get my other machine out and do that. Nope, not working. So I will keep playing with it. If I can't get it to work, Snap It Up is really good about taking things back and replacing them. So I will be doing that if I need to. I don't even know if I've done it once since I started with Stampin' Up. Oh, maybe once. They had, at one point, they had a set of ink pads that they were having some trouble with. So those ones, I think that may have been the only other product. And they will actually contact you and let you know if they've had a problem with something. And then you can take it back. Oh, this is my totally wrong sandwich. Sorry. I'm a little bit. I'm talking and not paying attention to what I'm doing. All right, let's do this the right way. So I'm not sure what happened today. I said last night it worked great. I did use a different embossing folder though last night. I was doing a different one, which I'm going to use in a minute. So maybe I'll try it again with that one. All right, so there is my pine branches. Okay. So let's bring our little owl back, and I'm going to bring back my scrap paper here. Not that I really need it, but because I've already cut him out, I will put that down. Okay, so for watercoloring, I'm going to use one of our water painters. So these come in a set of 3. They're all just a little bit different sizes. This one's the smallest point. So you just fill them with water, and it took me a while to figure this out, but when you fill them with water, you unscrew it in the opposite direction that you normally would. Okay? So if you have a set of these and you can't figure them out, try just going in the other way. It works really well, but it does not work when you try and get it done the regular way. All right. So I've done a little bit of everything on this one, so I just finish them up. So when you're watercoloring, you can just use our inks. What you do is you squeeze the pad together, kind of near the center, and then when you open it up, I don't know if you can see, this is kind of a paler ink. There's ink on the lid, okay? So I just take, oops, I'm flinging water everywhere. I just take my water painter and you just dip it in the ink. Now, I don't want to get a ton of color because I'm doing his little eye. This is Petal Pink, so it's a fairly light ink to begin with. A little bit more color on that. I've got a lot of water on my brush right now, so it's really kind of washing it out. I'm going to leave that. I may go back and add some more color to that because it's pretty wet right now. Okay, so I'll leave that one. Crumb cake, I've already pinched it, I think. Yep. So the crumb cake, I did his tummy in crumb cake. And now I'm going to do his face. I'm going to try and stay away from that one eye for a little while here. Let it dry a bit. So you can just kind of keep adding as much color as you want. It'll give I don't know. I'm not really much of an artist with stuff like this, but you can play around with the shading a little bit. So if you add a little bit more color, you can add a little bit of dimension and stuff with watercoloring. I don't do it a lot, but I do like the effects of it, and I like, once I get started doing it, it's kind of fun, just because it's not something I normally do. So you can just pick up a little bit more color if you want to, or you can add a little bit more water if you want to dilute it a little bit more. Whatever you like, you can kind of make it your own thing. There we go. All right. And then you just want to clean, if you're using the same brush, just kind of clean it off in between colors. And again, I've tried to go kind of dark to light, or light to dark. So it gives me a little bit of forgiveness if I still have some color on my brush. All right, now I'm using soft suede, and I'm going to do his wings and kind of the rest of his body here with the soft suede. So your other option for watercoloring, if you have any of the re-inkers, so for all of our ink pads, we also have the re-inkers. So sometimes obviously the ink starts to dry up a little bit, or your pad just isn't as juicy. So if that's starting to happen, you can use a re-inker. So it's just a little bottle of just the ink. So I could get my little bottle of soft suede ink and add more onto my ink pad, and it will sink in, and then it keeps it fresh. But you can also put a little bit of re-inker either on the lid or on a little like plastic tray, or I've used like margarine lids before, yogurt lids, those little plastic lids. So you can just use that and just put a drop of ink there, and that will work just as well. All right, and then my last color is Calypso Coral, and that's what I used for his little feet. This is a little bit of one of our older style ink pads. They're a little bit easier to squeeze together than the new ones are to get the ink on the lid, but both work. I did a sample one of these last night, and I found my coral was a little bit dark, so I'm going to start a little bit lighter and then add some more color until I get what I want here. There we go. I've got too much water on my brush. It's bleeding out a little bit. I'll see if I can fix that. He's got an orange cheek too. I don't know if I can do too much about that. I might try and add a little bit more crumb cake in there. Let's see if I can make that a little bit better and get some of the water out. It's a little bit better. Still a little bit there. All right. So another way, if you wanted to avoid that problem happening, you can always emboss your owl before you watercolor. That will work too. All right, so there's my little owl. Nope, that is not the right lid for my water painter. There we go. And so I think I have all the pieces. I'm going to let that dry a little bit more. It's pretty close to being dry now, but I can start assembling everything else. So I'll do this the exact same way, but hopefully all the pieces are the same size, which I think I've got them right now. So I'm going to just add the glue again to this piece. down so it's almost empty. Put that down on my card base. Okay, and then this one, I like the plaid on the back of this one too. I just wanted a little bit more subtle pattern for this card. But you could certainly use this as well if you wanted. Go this direction so I can get it lined up along my edge the right way. Okay, that piece, my little parakeet strip down the middle there. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing. He's dry enough. I'm going to glue him right onto my circle. And again, you could use dimensionals for this if you wanted to. Got a lot of glue out there. Try not to pinch it anymore for a minute. See if I can get it spread around a bit. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking I did not stamp or cut out the next owl because I thought I would do that one with you. It's going to be a little bit of a long video today. But that's okay because you can either watch it now or you can watch it later. I'll put the recording up. All right, so he's going to go on there. And then I'll grab my dimensionals again and put a few out. My greeting's a little bit smaller, so I'll see what I want to do with that. If I want to use dimensionals or where I want to put it, I'm not sure yet. All right. Okay, do I want to kind of put that in the same place? Yeah, that would work. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put glue here and a dimensional under here. Make sure I've got it right. There we go. So there's another cute little owl. We'll add a little bit of bling here. Oops, that one went upside down. There we go. All right, so there's card number 2. Same thing, I would put an insert in here with just one of the little owls, and I would probably stamp him in either parakeet or coastal cabana. Or black. Black would work as well. All right, one more card. So this is card number 3. So for this one, I'm using this cute little owl with the bow tie. Let's get him on my block. Okay, and then I'm using the Hoot Hoot You're So Cute stamp. We'll get that on the block. All right, my colors for this one, I am using Granny Apple Green for my card base. So again, 8.5 by 5.5 squared at 4 1/4. I have my Granny Apple Green, and this one I embossed with the stripes from the Stripes and Splatters set of embossing folders. So yeah, so I did this one last night and it worked perfectly fine in the machine. So I'm not sure what I was doing wrong today, but I will keep playing with it and I will call demo support again if I need to. My accent piece is Night of Navy. And I'm using the same designer paper that I used before, the Coastal Cabana piece of the Dandy Designs. And the same, I'm going to use the same pattern on this one. Or maybe I should do that one. Nope. Well, we'll see. I'll play with it when we get to that point. Okay? So, I'm going to take my scrap piece here. This and my Memento ink for my little owl. And I'm sorry you get to see me try and fussy cut him out. Okay, so I'm going to just stamp him in the corner there. I'm going to color him with blends, but in the meantime I'm going to cut out my circle. So I'm going to use the same piece of paper. And I'm just going to cut out the circle. So again, that was the second largest of the stylish shapes. Where are my plates for that? So I'm going to try the little one again. Hopefully it works for us. So I've just got some washi tape that I'm using to hold it because I don't have the magnetic plate. Use this piece just to hold it in place a little bit. So plate number 1, plate number 2, and plate number 2, I will stagger them a little bit. I'm not cutting out the owl, just the circle. Doesn't want to work today. Okay. All right, so I've got my circle. I've got my owl. So I'm going to just trim this little piece of the cardstock just to make it a little bit easier to work with. And then I'm going to get out my blends. Oh, and I forgot to get out my what is it? Calypso Coral. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not doing a very good job of it. Okay, and I just don't know which one it is. Is it that one? Yeah. So I'm using the light, I think the light Coastal, there's too many names that are the same. Nope, Calypso Coral. I keep wanting to say Coastal Cabana or Crystal something. Anyways, those are not the right names. Okay, I'm going to pull out, I'm going to try the light petal pink. I can't remember which one I used for his eyes, but I'm going to try the light petal pink. If that is the wrong color, then I will switch it up. so I'm going to color, I'm actually going to do these little circles this time. I think I actually colored the wrong part in that last one, but that's okay. There we go. So yeah, for this card, the one that I watercolored, I should have colored this little smaller white circle, not the big outside one. But that's okay. He still looks like an owl. All right, so petal pink for the eyes, and then I'm using light crumb cake for his face. What's he gonna do with his little bow tie? I do need one more color of blends out here. I forgot about his little bow tie. So light crumb cake for his face. Does anybody have any fun, exciting plans for the rest of their week? I have a busy work week. We started a new session at the gym, so we have lots of new happy faces coming in and getting to do gymnastics, so it's fun to work with them. I had 3 classes yesterday of little guys, so like 3 and 4, about 3 to 5 years old. Those are the ones that I worked with yesterday. They're always kind of fun. Their take on life is a lot different than ours, and it's kind of refreshing. Okay, and I didn't tell you I switched colors here. So, well, actually didn't switch colors. It's still crumb cake, but this is the dark crumb cake. So you can see just by using that same color, you can get two different colors out of it. You could also use the light crumb cake and just go over it a few times, like 2 or 3 times. That will also give you a little bit of, maybe not this dark, but it'll also give you a darker shade of the crumb cake, so you can do it that way too to get some color variation in there if you don't want to use 2 different markers. But all of the blends come in a set of 2, so they all come with a dark and a light. There's the odd exception. We have a skin tone set that has a few more markers in it. But all the regular colors come in the 2-pack. All right, and then I'll do his little beak, and I'm using the light Calypso Coral. For his beak and for his feet. So I know I'm throwing a lot out there today. I've used 3 different ways to color. So we did markers, we did watercolor, and we did blends. And then 3 different color combinations. I made one card that didn't use any, like I didn't have to use a cut and emboss machine at all. I just used mostly scissors and my trimmer. So that was different as well. And this I'm going to grab, I think that's, oh no, that's parakeet. I don't want parakeet for this one. I want Granny Apple Green. Where is my Granny Apple Green? Is that this one? Yeah, except that I want the light one, I think. Oh, maybe I'll do both. I will do both. We'll do the light for the outside of the tie and the dark for the inside of the tie, and see how I like that. So Granny Apple Green for his tie. Or you could have picked Night of Navy too, or any other color really. your card, your choice. I've also seen the owl colored using grays instead of the brownish like the crumb cake, and that looks really cute as well. Okay, so my coloring is done. I forgot to stamp my greeting, so I will do that after. All right, now you get to see me fussy cut. I'll try not to be too long with this, because the owls do not come, unfortunately, with dies. But that's okay, because then if you don't have a die cutting machine, you're not missing out on anything. I'm not going to get too detailed with his little wing here. Or his feet. This one, the feet aren't too bad because they're really close to his little body. But if you notice on the other ones, I kind of just cut the feet out all as one piece instead of trying to get the individual, because it's a little finicky. I'm not going to get too far in on that piece either. And it was recommended to me once that when you're fussy cutting, it works a little bit better if you can try and remember to kind of hold your scissors still and move your cardstock. Now I'm going to come in and cut that little bit out after. Yeah, if you kind of turn your cardstock around instead of keep trying to turn the scissors around, it's a little bit easier and a little bit better. I often forget to do that. I don't do a lot of fussy cutting because it's not my favorite thing to do. I'm not very patient, and this takes a little bit of patience to do this. All right. I can go in and trim that. I'm going to go just get this little bit out here. And then that one is done. All right. Sorry, this is a bit of a longer video today, so I apologize for that. I thought I would be a little bit quicker with my three little guys than I am, but that's what it is today. Okay, I've lost my scrap for my greeting, but I have another piece here, so I can just use that. I have a few scraps out, so I'll just use that. Unless it's in there. No. All right. So my greeting, I'm doing the Hoot Hoot, You're So Cute. And I'm doing that in Night of Navy. Just because I didn't want, all the other ones I stamped it on the coordinating color, but because it's navy, it won't show up. So I will just do it on white with navy ink. And a good thing I checked that one because I got some ink on the edge of that stamp. I don't know if you can see it there. I'll just use my little cloth and get that off before I get it all over the cardstock. So that, oh, I still got a little bit. Okay, let's try the back side. This is a nice juicy ink pad. So where was that bit? Above the H. Okay. And I'm going to try and be a little bit gentler when I stamp this too, because it's, there we go. That's a better image. I tend to push hard or harder, and you don't need to do that, and sometimes I forget. All right, so I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to go back to the Stylish Shapes dies. Did I pull that one out already? Uh-oh. I think I had my die attached to this one. I brought it all over, and now I don't know where I put it. Okay, let's get this stuff out of the way. Oh, there it is. I got it. So it's another one of the Stylish Shape dies. It's just a little bit of the bigger kind of flagged end piece. All right. So I'll get that one cut out, and then we can put this all together. Okay, let's get this last card assembled. All the same steps. I'm just putting it all together. And you can see this piece, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you can use it on either side. Just depending on what kind of a look you're looking for. It's just slightly, a subtle different look from the back to the front. So same thing, I'll line that up, get my little bit of a border. Same with this piece. And I actually, when I first saw this card, I should have written down who I saw it from. I'll try and do that and put it in the comments. They had used a Celebration, it was an older video and they had, or older post, they had used a Celebration card from, or a stamp set from 2 or 3 years ago. And also modified it from a card that was in the Celebration brochure at that time using a different stamp. But I thought it would work as well with the little owls. You could actually use this for a lot of different things with a lot of different stamps. You could do a flower, you could do, you know, a different animal or whatever. You can just use this template with lots of different cards or lots of different stamps. You could stamp right onto your circle shape if you wanted to and color it out. Which maybe, since I'm not putting them up on dimensionals, might have been a better way to go today. And then I wouldn't have had to fussy cut them all. But that's okay, because I did. Maybe this one I'll do the dimensionals on both, just so that you get that different look. All right, so if I do that, I'm going to use my mini dimensionals for the back of my owl. There we go. Okay, and then I can put him on my circle. Maybe even let him hang off the circle a little bit. And then I'll do the same thing for this. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll glue the circle down on this one. Let's do that. So I still only have the one set of dimensionals, but my owl is popped up this time and my circle is flat. So just a little bit of a different look. Okay, and then what do we think? I think I like it here. I'm going to put it down a little bit lower just because it's still white like the circle. And that one doesn't want to stick down real well. Okay, let's do, I'm going to put that on dimensionals as well. Okay. I'll just put a little one in the middle so I don't have to cut another one. Okay. That together, and then I will show you all 3 cards. We probably need some bling on this one too, right? Actually, you know what? I'll do 2 little ones up here and put the big one on the bottom. There. I feel like my hoot hoot is a little crooked here. See if I can shift it just a little bit. There we go. All right, let me get rid of some of this stuff and bring in all of my cards. So I've got that one, this one, they should all show up on the screen, and this one. All right, so no cutting machine, embossing machine used on this one. Just inks, paper, scissors, and some markers, I guess. And this one was watercoloring. I maybe would go back in and fix his face a little bit. I know he's got some, I used a lot of water on this one, so. And then blends with this one. I'll pull out, I did another watercolor one last night. So this was my sample one. I just thought my ink wasn't very dark, but I think the watercoloring worked a little bit better on that one. Anyways, that is the cards for this week. So I will see you again hopefully next week. Same time, same place. So 10 o'clock Tuesday morning on Artfully Stamped with Tracy. I hope everyone has a great week. Thanks so much for watching, and I would love it if you would share my videos, comment on the videos. I'm thinking about doing some prizes coming up for some future videos, so keep your eyes open for that. All right, thanks again, and I will see you next week.